Welcome everyone to our Wellbeing podcast. We're here to spark your lives, especially for the ones who've lost their spark in just living their lives. So here we have someone really interesting with us today. And for today's episode, she has a deep understanding in the local and international dating landscape for the last 11 years with Sirf Coffee. And it's none other than Naina Hiranandani. Let's welcome her.
Thank you for having me.
So Naina, please take us through a little bit about your journey with Sirf Coffee and all the challenges that come along your way. I'm sure there are many.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been one hell of a ride. It's taken a really long time. We kind of launched in 2009 when the first iPhone came out. So given we're on version 15, that sort of gives you a sense of how much time and energy it takes to build a brand. And the core essence of why we did this was to literally fill the void, right? Like a lot of us who were single and came of age did not want to go through the traditional mom and dad biodata route. We wanted to find our partners, but couldn't find the right way to go about it without putting yourself up on a matrimonial. So when Sunil founded it, I kind of joined him a couple of years later, and since then we have been progressively growing it year over year. What's been interesting is that the challenges don't seem to end in the entrepreneurial landscape. So I think initially it was, word of mouth, branding, positioning. And now it's just, becoming more nuanced in what we're doing. So we've grown, we've scaled, and I think there's like a challenge in finding someone in the Congo for one of your clients, right? But we've used technology and our brand positioning and that kind of sort of strength to really sort of take it ahead. So that's been interesting.
So Naina, how does one get onto the Sirf Coffee platform? What's the way to go about it?
It's pretty easy. There's 3 simple steps. The first is that they apply to the service. The second step is an interview. And so we kind of get to know them, do a little bit of a deep dive into their lives of who, what, where, how. So what is this person looking for? What are their preferences? What are things that they don't want? And the third step is doing a bit of a review internally to see what are the odds, what is the potential. And then if we find that there is a great mutual fit, we offer membership. If we feel that there isn't, we actually just say no. Once someone becomes a member, we start setting them up on dates. So it's either a coffee or a drink, just like the brand says. And it's fun. It's just, you organically can get to know someone. You can stay on as much as you like. So if you're having fun, great. If you're not, have your beverage and be respectful about it.
And does one have to be single? Or is it that, one is still coming out of a relationship, but they're looking for something like this?
So if you are single and never married, great. If you've been married before and, you've sorted yourself out with what didn't work and have happily moved on, then we're in a position to help. We've worked with single parents. We've worked with like all kinds of, folks. And that's what makes the work interesting. So our youngest client is 25. Our oldest client is 67, if I'm not mistaken.
That's quite a spectrum of age.
Absolutely.
Is it just within India? Is it outside? I know that you guys are also in the UK.
Yes.
So how does it work cross-country? Do you see a lot of that? Are people open to that as well?
Yeah, I think anyone who's single wants a partner wherever they are. So our office is in the UK, but we have a presence pretty much everywhere. We've worked with people in over 25 countries. So if they're single, eligible, and they're looking for the right things, we don't hesitate to help them.
That is amazing. And tell us also a little bit about, when we work with a lot of them and when we see someone who wants to manifest, a partner or a companion, what we do see with them is that I want this, and I want them to be a 10 on 10 or a 7 on 10 or an 8 on 10 or that. And then what do you have to offer? This is it. Yeah. Like I have 4 or 5 things to offer, but I want this. And then I go like, no, but you need to be this.
Absolutely.
To want this and to attract this.
Yeah.
Right? And do you see that synergy in your work where you feel like it is emotional, spiritual, there is those elements also which do naturally surface or come up, especially when something's not working out? Or if something is working out between 2 people, do you see those become factors or reasons behind their entire matchmaking process with you?
Absolutely. If I had to sum up my journey, it would be that meme that floats around on Instagram with expectations versus reality.
Yes.
So whatever iteration you see of that reminds us a lot of our work, because people will come to you with 100 things, and then we ask the same questions, what do you bring to the table? Or if it's okay to want things, right? But it's also very helpful for the person to be open-minded. I think that is the biggest barrier.
But I also feel like at the same time, when you say that, I see a lot of them also trying to have an image of what an idealistic partner would be like. And when they're in a relationship or find someone compatible, they tend to project that or want them to become that. And there's a thin line between seeing the potential in someone to be that and see that journey with them, and actually trying to project an idealistic version of what they want onto the person.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm sure you would have also seen these kind of
Yeah.
things happening, and this being one of the reasons why things are not working out between two people.
Yeah, unhealthy ideas
Yes.
of the or lack of acceptance, right? So I think this is also a thing where we look for a partner that encompasses 10 different personalities in one.
Yes.
Right? That they should be my coach, they should be my like should talk to them about my career, they should be my best friend, they should be my lover, they should be like a parent, give me that kind of parental love. I may want to do all my hobbies or interests with this person, and I think that's completely unfair. There are different people in your life who will satisfy different desires, right? So let's say you have this great artistic side to you, or like you have a spiritual side to you. You cannot expect your partner to completely be on board, resonate.
Yes.
They can support that.
And it may also be something that may happen over a period of time.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that it's all, in one person, like you're saying, that puts a lot of responsibility and expectations
on the other person to make you happy.
And more so on the relationship, right?
Yeah.
And that's where it starts
Pressure.
wobbling and pressure, right?
I mean, I can relate to this the most, but there are two styles of people, right? Like there's the A attachment style, which is where if the bond is broken in the middle, the other person will collapse. They can't function without their partner. They're joint at the hip. Everything I do, you must do with me. Or I've never holidayed solo, or I'll never go to a restaurant and eat a meal alone, or I can't watch a movie alone. There are tons of people like this that we are all acquainted with. And then there is the H, right, where it's two robust individuals who have a mind of their own, who have a life of their own, who have an ecosystem of their own, with something that bonds, both of them. Yes, where you can, go on 2 trips together, but there may be 2 trips where, one of you is not, they're not interested. And I think, in fact, having recently done some solo travel myself, I think it's super healthy. Distance is super healthy, to give yourself some time to yourself, right? To actually think about things, to
and regain your energy.
Absolutely, to recharge.
Yourself.
And I don't know why there's a lot of looking down on it, as if like, oh, you didn't have anyone else to go with, or like, where was your partner? The number of times I was asked where my partner is. So there's a lot of this in Indian especially, because we are driven a lot by doing things together. By community.
Seeing together.
Yes. Family expectations, social expectations, where like if you're not together in an Instagram story, will lead to some gossip from someone, and it's just frankly no one's business. So you have to develop yourself, right? You have to sort of be in a space where, and I say this to everyone, if you're coming to Sirf Coffee thinking your life will be complete, that's not the right.
Or your voids will be filled.
Yes, that's not, I just need to get married. I have everything. I'm 38, I'm like the CEO of my company, I've made this much money, I have a great set of friends and family. Now if I just get married, my life will be complete, which is not the way to think about it. It's just, I am a whole.
In myself,
I'm very fulfilled, and I can share my life with
someone else.
Right? So, of course, there's lots of beauties of a relationship. Your life feels a little enhanced, where you can share good days, you can share not so good days, you feel that sense of comfort.
Yes.
Right? But if everyone had that sort of, I think, view, we wouldn't beat ourselves up over it so much.
Yes.
Where sadly in India, success in life is equated to having a partner or not. A lot of it, right?
Yes,
Socially, you
it
go out,
is,
you're just
it
like, why are you
is.
so single? What happened? Oh, you're so beautiful. You should have found someone right away. This person has no idea
Yes.
of what your journey has been. You could have been in a relationship for 5 years and it would have not worked out.
Yeah.
Right? So I think once we sort of build that around ourselves, you'll have a far better chance also of attracting the right person.
Right person. So Naina, also tell us about people, you know, building their relationship self, and how sometimes you may experience someone really accomplished bringing their professional selves into the relationship, and it becoming about the profession, it becoming about the achievements. What do you have to say about that?
No, you're absolutely right, where it can become a prototype to look for a partner in a bit of an unhealthy way. So to sort of clarify, achievements are great, right? Someone who has top pedigree, whether in terms of schools that they went to or the kind of jobs they did or the experience they had, is wonderful. But you can't expect a sort of set model from your partner, especially because they have to satisfy different desires you have in life, right? So if your dream even is to be a power couple, which is wonderful, you need to balance each other on the other things. Like one of the things that I think needs balance is like temperament to a very large extent, right? You can't have fire and fire. You will both build a raging fire, which I don't know who's going to put out. You need a balance of, say, when there are certain things that someone feels very strongly about or emotional about, the other person needs to step back a little, be receptive and sort of understand where they're coming from, and vice versa, because you will,
like fire and water, or
yes, because you will all have a set of beliefs or values that we all feel strongly about, which may come out in the most laid back person. This has nothing to do with what kind of nature they have. It's a lot about what they will fight for or stand up for, right? So I think a CV is great for LinkedIn, not necessarily for choosing a partner. And of course, we all want someone who's passionate and driven and ambitious, but this is also subjective. Like, this is not to say that someone who is not the founder of a firm is not ambitious. There are super passionate people who work in nonprofit or in renewable energy or an industry that's very new or hardly recognized by, say, larger forces at play. But this showcases, in fact, that this person is willing. There's action to their words, right? So if someone is working for the UN, right, it doesn't come from just a place of prestige or something. It's because they really believe this is a way to change the world. And I think if we're all a little accepting of that, you can be with the right person who is also accomplished and driven and passionate, yet kind, empathetic, and complementary to you, right?
So Naina, is there any well-being formula or a wellness formula that you guys have at Sirf Coffee, or it's a personal formula that you have, or it's something that you would like to share with our viewers of what your formula is?
So I think my formula has been living a little bit of a balanced life, right? Where I think it was my mom who said many years ago. So I had a media job that was very intense, and it used to get toxic on some days, right? Where you're just very, very angry or like frustrated, and you don't know how to. Where do you sort of navigate? Where do you sort of unleash or throw it out? And sometimes you come home and take it out on other people, right? And so she used to say, when you walk into my house, please leave your ego and all your troubles at the door. You know, don't sort of enter our space with that. Like whatever the stuff that's running through your mind. And I think we all need to sort of consciously do that, right? To make a concerted effort to compartmentalize your life. Where, okay, this is the time where I am focused. This is the time where I'm speaking to someone, and it can't be 24/7. So a couple of things I think have really worked for me. One is meditation. I think is a must for everyone. I think they should teach it in schools, like right from when you're a kid and stressed out. Like literally, I think the stress point starts from when we are kids. right? And so that should be really inculcated. And whatever sort of you believe in, like there are some people who believe in chanting, there's some people who believe in doing their own spiritual practices or just sitting in silence.
Yes.
But I think that's a must. The second thing for me is I think movement is medicine for me. So literally the days where I feel I don't have that, I feel almost less capable of handling challenges at work. But if I've worked out in whatever way, so whether it's a swim or a walk or a Pilates class, that is my time to myself. And that is actually, it's not just with your body, but it's also mental. Fitness is a mental thing.
Yes, it is.
It's very little about how far you can go, how much you can lift, how much you can stretch. It's more about like, how do I make myself conquer this movement? Yeah. So I think that's like my medicine to survival in this world. And then this, of course, there's stuff like music and reading and even, podcasts, I think, are the future for me. So I kind of try to listen to people that are sort of, you learn something from, right? Like it's less about just mindless chatter. It's more about like, what am I learning from this conversation? Is there an experience I could benefit with? And I think that's why you have, you have some great podcasts that I listen to even professionally, just for like growth, because there's always so much. You may have seen a lot in 10 decades, not 10 decades, a decade of matchmaking, but you will always have something to learn about how people are behaving, how they're responding, how they're navigating. Like we have apps now, maybe 5 years from now, we have AI involved in the picture, people in a relationship with someone who's not even real, I don't know. Might be a new sci-fi movie
now already.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes.
Like I think it's a thing in Japan. I just met someone who told me it's a thing in Japan. So you gotta educate yourself, and so I love doing that on the go. Like if I'm walking or I'm driving, I like to listen to a podcast 30-40 minutes instead of, I don't know, Netflix and whatever. I don't think there's any chilling in Netflix. It's just seems a bit mindless sometimes. So really just using my free time in the way that I feel like makes me feel happy and balanced.
So that's lovely. And I wanted to point out about psychology says that love is not an emotion, but love is an expression, and there's another emotion that manifests that love. For someone it could be trust, for someone it could be joy, for someone it could be courage. And what is it for you?
So maybe to not answer the question directly, I would say for me love is a verb.
Right.
So more than an emotion, because I think emotions come and they can leave very quickly, right? So they say, your dopamine is great for a certain period of time, or serotonin is great for a period of time. But then eventually, what about the rest, right? So I think to keep a relationship going, to keep a marriage going, you have to put in the work. And sadly, people don't recognize that. Like you said early on, I found the guy, projecting myself, now he will do everything to make me happy, or vice versa, right?
Yes.
A lot of men also feel this way. If I only had a woman who understood me in these aspects, I would be such a happily married man.
Yeah.
So I think it's a verb. Love is doing constantly for yourself and for your partner. So there's, I think, a very beautiful quote that I read is like, literally a relationship is like an empty box.
Yes.
It's completely like not filled, and you have to constantly, both of you have to fill it with things. So you add trust in there, you add vulnerability, right? You add intimacy in there, you add like whatever it is that's important to you, honesty, integrity. These are things that I would think are a non-negotiable. Courage, right? Even if some things happen that's really terrible, do you have also the courage to confide in your partner, or do you feel like they won't be accepting of where I'm at? Right? And we all have our deep dark, I'm sure you're experiencing people who tell you very intimate secrets that maybe nobody knows, but having the right kind of partner can also overcome this.
Right. Thank you, Naina, for giving your time and your interesting insights into mindful dating for someone to take that journey with Sirf Coffee and you. Thank you to our viewers, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. And now we're supposed to chat.
Okay.
right now it's really hot.